After going through the first issue of the official US PlayStation magazine in our last episode, let's continue our journey by picking up where we left off. In November of 1997, the second issue of US PSM was published, with a cover story discussing how developer Masaya Matsuura and children's book author Rodney Greenblatt created Parappa the Rapper. The issue also includes the usual array of PlayStation news, upcoming releases, and reviews. The international section covers both Europe's ECTS 97 Expo as well as the Tokyo Game Show Autumn 97, including this guy, who I'm pretty sure is Suka Todora from the game Puyo Puyo. The two strategy guides included cover Croc, Legend of the Gobos, which we'll actually be taking a look at today, as well as a list of combos for the fighting game Bushido Blade. But most importantly, packaged alongside the magazine, is the official US PlayStation Magazine Demo Disc 2. So with that out of the way, it's time to continue our journey through the lost era of demo discs. Let's dive into these bite-sized playtests, watch all the trailers and promotional videos, figure out what changed in the full releases, and decide which one offers the best demo experience. Welcome back to Demo Disc Deep Dive. Booting up the disc, we're greeted with the familiar PlayStation and PSM splash screens, followed by the demo disc's intro cinematic. Just like the magazine itself, every PSM demo disc is categorized by volume, with each volume containing 12 discs. But while the disc CD art stays the same throughout the volume, the menus and music typically change every few issues. So even though Demo Disc 2 shows the same intro and music as its predecessor, this won't always be the case. And speaking of its predecessor, we have 2 more demos compared to the previous disc, giving us a total of 6 playable demos and 2 promotional videos. So with no time to waste, let's jump into our first playable demo, Armored Core. The first thing you notice when selecting a demo is that all of the control splash screens are now part of the demo disc's main menu rather than the individual demos. And we know this because there's no loading screen and the demo disc music continues to play while looking at the controls. Pressing X to continue, we're taken to the Armored Core main menu. From here, we have 2 options to choose from, Scenario Mode and Versus Mode. And unlike some demos, the Versus Mode is actually functional, allowing for split screen play. But let's start off by taking a look at Scenario Mode. While the Load Game button isn't functional, selecting New Game allows us to create our pilot name before starting. Now in the menu, only 3 of the 6 options are available to us: Mission, Store, and the Garage. The ranking, mail, and system settings are all unavailable in this version, but the demo at least has some nice music playing in the background. Out of the 3 options available to us, the Garage is where you'll be spending most of your time in the demo. Here you get to build your mech by choosing its head, core, arms, legs, generator, FCS, boosters, back weapons, and arm weapons. But you do need to keep track of your mech's weight and energy limit, determined by your generator and legs. Once you're finished building your mech, you can then customize its appearance either through pre-made patterns or by creating your own custom color palette. There's even an emblem editor for you to create your own design to put on your mech. And with all of that completed, you can now go to the AC test to see how it fares against 2 enemies. Now I will be the first to admit, the control scheme in Armored Core has a bit of a learning curve. Without access to a second stick for aiming, you instead have to use L2 and R2 to look up and down, and left and right on the D-pad to turn, with your left and right bumpers controlling your strafe. Thankfully, there is a lock-on system, so you only need to get the enemy into your reticle's area, rather than precisely aim. But once you get used to the controls and can defeat the 2 training enemies, you're now ready to take on your first mission. In the AC demo, there are 2 missions available to choose from: remove the gun emplacement and eliminate squatters. So let's start with the gun emplacement. Before we begin, a mission debrief tells us our main objective is to destroy the 4 gun turrets located on the island, and in exchange for this, we'll be rewarded with a new set of legs for our mech.
We've arrived at the combat area. We'll leave as soon as your AC is deployed.
Main system engaging combat mode.
Dropping into the mission, we have to jump over the wall in front of us to make it to the island itself. But with the flying enemies and long-range turrets shooting at you, you can quickly take too much damage and fail the mission like I did.
Defenses damaged, halting combat and returning to the nest.
Afterwards, the income and expense report shows how much credits you have to spend based on ammo used and the damage you took. Here you can also see a typo with the balance being misspelled. During my second attempt, I was testing to see if there was a way to skip the cutscene at the start of the mission, and while doing this, I accidentally pressed select, automatically returning me to the demo disk's main menu. And due to the lack of save functionality in the PSM demo disks, this means all of the customizations I made are now gone. So after quickly making a new, less personalized mech, I'm able to clear out the enemy turrets and unlock the new set of legs. The second mission, Eliminate Squatters, is much larger than the first mission and takes place within a city. To successfully complete the mission, you must eliminate the 6 enemies scattered around the map, and considering they're fairly spread out from one another, it's a pretty easy mission. But keep in mind that by using high-powered weapons, like the machine gun arms, it can actually cost more in ammunition than the 14,000 credit reward you get for completing the mission. With the 2 missions out of the way, let's take a look at the final part of scenario mode, the shop. Along with the 21 parts already available in the garage and the legs unlocked from the first mission, the shop has an additional 7 parts that can be purchased with credits. So by completing the second mission repeatedly with low-cost gear, you can slowly earn enough credits to afford the new parts. But if you don't want to farm the mission, you can instead sell the parts you start with in order to buy them. And because you're able to buy them back for the same amount you sold them for, it's very easy to mix and match using the extra parts available to you. A final note for scenario mode is that even though it's easy to lose credits through ammo and repair costs, there's actually no negative effect for having too much debt. Despite what the expense report can show as your total balance, your debt is actually hard capped at negative 50,000 credits, and we'll be able to see why when we take a look at the full release. Now in Versus mode, we're able to play 2-player split-screen matches. Like scenario mode, each player is able to build and customize their own mech, even having access to some parts not available in scenario mode. Each player can also individually edit their controller mappings, which is another mechanic not available in the scenario mode. For the demo, the only Versus map available is the forest stage. Filled with trees, rocks, hills, and some mines hidden around the arena, the players have 2 minutes to defeat one another. And when one of the players wins, they can immediately rematch or return to the Versus menu to continue customizing their mechs. In the full release of Armored Core, the first change we get to see, like usual, is an animated intro cinematic. And now for the other changes. When selecting scenario mode, the Raven's Nest logo has been changed from its demo counterpart. And rather than the 21 parts we started with in the demo, we only get 1 part for each of the categories. When looking at the available missions, any mission that rewards parts on completion rather than credits now has it listed in the reward column rather than the blank hyphens present in the demo. And while the 2 demo missions themselves aren't changed in the full release outside of now having music, both the mission start and mission end dialogue have been updated.
Main system engaging combat mode. Target of operation cleared. System switched to normal mode.
System engaged. Target achieved.
Oh, and the income and expense report did fix the balance typo. Finally, if you end up reaching over 50,000 credits in debt, instead of being hard capped like in the demo, you actually get a game over. But in return, you do receive a small buff to help you on your next playthrough. When looking at Versus mode, the default selection on the main menu is now Link mode, allowing you to connect with another console to play on separate TVs. But if you hold down R2, the split screen mode from the demo becomes available once again, now with more maps and parts available. And that is the Armored Core demo. While the missions themselves aren't especially difficult, they're a fantastic sandbox for you to test out all of the different mechs you can create. Combine that with its Versus mode, as long as you have someone to play with, and this demo does a great job showing off the gameplay loop of building your mech, completing a mission, and using the rewards to customize your mech even further. Up next, let's take a look at one of the PlayStation's many colorful platforming mascots, Croc, Legend of the Gobbos. Aside from a simple starting screen, the Croc demo contains a single cave level, and along with reaching the end of the level, we're tasked with finding all 6 hidden Gobbos, which in turn requires collecting the 5 colored gems scattered around the level. Breaking the box at the start of the level drops 5 white gems. These white gems act similar to the rings in Sonic, where getting hit will drop all of the white gems you're holding, and then getting hit with 0 gems uses up one of your lives to respawn at the beginning of the room. And if you do lose all your lives, you're treated to a still image of Croc and a few reviews before being sent to the demo disc main menu. By jumping off the pushable box, you can reach the first colored gem by jumping to the floating platform while avoiding the circling enemy. Returning to solid ground, you can then push the box to the other side of the room in order to reach the red gem and a button. After pushing it, a floating platform will lower, giving you a few seconds to jump down and hop onto it to reach the first hidden Gobbo. In the next room, a hook will carry you to a crumbling platform, dropping you onto an arrow platform below. By using the red arrows, you can sail over the other end of the lava pool to collect the second Gobbo and move on to the next room. But there's actually a fun fact about this room that I only realized after clipping through the arrow platform and respawning. This white gem on the crumbling platform is actually a camouflaged colored gem, giving you both the blue gem while also adding a white gem to your total. And because colored gems don't respawn when you die, this is also the only white gem in the level that can permanently disappear unless you restart. Now in the third room, you have to jump across crumbling platforms to reach 3 different areas with different enemies. Both of the 2 side areas have enemies called jumpies and crates that you can break, the right area having the yellow crystal, and the left having the third Gobbo. The area next to the exit also has a worm enemy that pops out and attacks Croc when he's too close. And these sections, where you have to run in a circular motion to collect the gems, can be very finicky, especially with how Croc uses tank controls for its movement. At the beginning of the next room, there's a gong that you can hit to end the level, which I didn't realize when I first hit it, or you can go to the left to collect the purple gem, ride a moving platform to grab a key and the 4th Gobbo, and then ride back on the platform to unlock the cage holding the 5th Gobbo. And now that we have all 5 of the colored gems, the gem door opens, allowing us to go to the final room in the level. Here, we have to jump across the floating staircase of boxes, leading to a key hidden behind the last stack of them. And after using the key to free the last Gobbo, we can go up the staircase again to break each of the boxes for their white gems, before finally ending the level with 66 white gems, all 5 colored gems, and all 6 Gobbos saved. Now let's take a look at what changed between the demo and Croc's full release. After a cinematic intro showing us the evil Baron Dante mentioned in the magazine, we see the start screen has been updated with some captive Gobbos shown in the background, along with probably the catchiest menu music I have ever heard. Another thing to note is that the demo level is actually the 5th level in the full release, titled Cave Fear. Starting the mission, a few changes are visible right away. The first is the loading screen now having Croc walk across the black background. The brightness of the game has also been increased, with the saturated colors making it a lot easier to see the environmental details. And finally, both the UI has been updated from its demo version, and the box texture has been changed to a new cave variant. In the second room, thanks to the increased brightness, you can also see that the hook from the demo is actually a purple balloon. After writing it down, the crumbling platform has been moved to be behind the arrow platform rather than above it, and the arrow platform itself has a new texture, losing the gears in the middle and the red buttons now being yellow. The corridor to the next room has also been extended, now turning to the right instead of being straight ahead. With no changes in the third room, the fourth room's purple gem has now been moved from the platform to behind the first gong, and the gem door itself also has a new opening animation. Going into the final room, Croc is no longer able to break all the crates under him with a single ground pound, now having to do it one at a time. And once you hit the gong, the number of Gabos and white gems collected are added to your total before sending you back to the level select screen. The Croc demo chose a level that contains a wide variety of mechanics from the full game. Pushing blocks to different enemies and all the various platform types are a great sampler of the different obstacles a player would expect to find in the full release. But with some clunky controls and a fairly short level, each playthrough does feel the same, making it a little lacking in terms of replay value. After being the cover story for the previous US PSM issue, we now have a promotional video for the Ghost in the Shell video game that was released back in July of 1997. And I also want to give a massive epilepsy warning. If you have photosensitivity issues or are watching in a dark room, I'd recommend skipping to the timestamp on screen now or lowering the brightness on your display. With that out of the way, let's watch the promotional video for Ghost in the Shell. So that was a lot. As a promotional video, you can see that their main goal was to evoke the feeling of fast-paced action that you would expect from a cyberpunk video game. But with how fast the editing is, it's hard for your brain to process what you're looking at before it's already moved on to the next shot. When creating a promotional video, I believe the main goal should be evoking an emotion in the viewer that they can remember when looking for a game to purchase. But while this video has a lot of nice shots, the constant switching makes it hard to recall any individual one. Considering the animation in the full game is praised in a lot of its reviews, I believe a somewhat slower paced trailer would allow the memorable moments to breathe and then be juxtaposed with the fast-paced gameplay. Continuing the sci-fi theme, let's jump into the next playable demo, Colony Wars. After a quick coming soon screen, we're taken to the Colony Wars main menu. While there's no music, there is some ambient background noise filling in the silence. With the only available option being log on and then begin campaign, the mission briefing starts. The briefing explains that Navy forces from Earth have been targeting planetary zones within the Gala-Nyer system, and with Navy fighters on course for Midas Starport, it's our job to defeat the enemies and defend the starport along with the civilian transport surrounding it. And at the bottom of the screen, we can see the fighter we'll be using is the S-5 Vampire, thanks to its high-speed capabilities. By pressing Launch Craft, we're shown a quick loading screen before arriving at Midas Starport. Using the navigation system at the bottom of the screen, we can locate the 3 enemy fighters represented by blue diamonds. Combat-wise, the Vampire has 3 weapons, an anti-shield laser, a regular laser, and 2 single-use stun missiles that can lock onto the enemy fighters. And in order to destroy them, you first have to lower their shields with the anti-shield laser before switching to your main laser to destroy their hull. Unfortunately, the enemy fighters almost exclusively focus on the civilian transports and the space station. So while you can shoot them down before they complete their objective, there's no real dogfighting outside of a couple shots. And at the same time, it takes quite a while to actually lose the mission. I had to wait 4 minutes before all of the transports and the starport were finally destroyed, though they do have some nice explosion effects. Depending on how you finish the mission, there are 4 possible endings for the demo. If you successfully defeat the enemy fighters, you'll be congratulated on a job well done and dock into Midas Starport. If you fail your mission and Midas Starport is destroyed, you'll instead perform a hyperspace jump to escape. Considering the enemy fighters will rarely target you, if you choose to continuously crash into the starport until your ship is eventually destroyed, you'll simply explode with a quick message about your escape pod. The final ending to the mission is actually a bit of a secret. At the end of the Colony Wars section in the magazine, it mentions firing at one of the Allied ships to find out how the League treats a traitor. So if we go back in and do just that, we're first given a warning in case we didn't realize they were an ally. If we ignore it, however, and continue attacking, we're told that our League status is revoked and another S-5 Vampire will spawn in to attack us, shown as a red diamond on our navigation system. This Vampire is basically the only real dogfight in the demo, and a nice attention to detail is that you actually can't lock onto it with your stun missiles due to it also being a League vessel. After defeating it, an automated self-destruct message will play, and in 30 seconds, your ship will automatically be destroyed. But after your escape pod launches, a special cutscene will play showing League ships chasing you into space. No matter what ending you receive, the demo ends with a coming soon splash screen talking about what else you can look forward to in the full release. For the full release of Colony Wars, the starting screen has been updated, and we also get an intro cinematic voiced by a James Earl Jones sound-alike.
When I was very young, the Earth Empire controlled the skies. The Tsar and his battle fleet saw everything, knew everything, punished everything. Those of us in the colonies never imagined there could be another way. But then the real slaughter began.
On the main menu, a voiced greeting now plays.
Welcome to the League of Free Worlds Information System.
And we now have both an options and a demo mode. In the demo mode, you can choose to rewatch the intro, view the credits, or watch 5 different demo videos showing off various missions. In the bottom left corner of the screen, there's also a little message saying, connected to www.colonywars.com. After logging on, there's now a craft and system database available to browse. with voiceovers giving in-depth lore and history about different ships, the Gallinair system, and each individual planet within it. Starting a new campaign plays another voice cinematic before taking us to the mission briefing, now fully voiced as well.
Navy missions within Gallinair appear to be increasing.
Mechanically, the Midas Starport mission is the same as the demo, with the only changes being cosmetic, along with all the messages to the player now being voiced.
This is Midas Starport. We are under attack. Please assist.
The M in Midas Starport is now capitalized. When you complete the mission, the text in each of the ending cutscenes is now located at the bottom of the screen rather than the center. And if you let the starport get destroyed, you'll notice that the exploding animation has been slightly updated. If you once again try to attack the allied ships, you'll still get branded as a traitor with the same messages, enemy vampire, and self-destruct sequence happening. But there is now a model for the escape pod, as well as a new voiceover during the escape cutscene.
The League of Free Worlds information system details the punishment administered to captured traitors. Most were dispatched to the deadly mines of Morpheus. Their fatality rates were at record levels. Proclamations of innocence were deemed inadmissible, as their actions in combat had been widely witnessed.
While the Colony Wars demo has a nice premise and scenery, its simplicity and lack of any substantial difficulty makes subsequent playthroughs hard to justify, especially when the most enjoyable part of the demo is fighting a single enemy before exploding 30 seconds later. Continuing the trend of demos starting with the letter C, let's take a look at Cool Borders 2. Unlike the other demos on this disc, there's actually some voice developer and title splash screens, though the lack of music is very noticeable.
Cool Borders!
And if you actually wait on the start screen, eventually a demo video will start playing. The possible videos show off the characters Yagi, Iron, or Jin snowboarding down one of the game's courses, and each video can either be in the cinematic camera or the normal gameplay view, leading to a total of 6 possible demo videos. Interestingly enough, the character Cindy is the only one without a demo video. And if you reach the end of the video, the demo itself also ends, kicking you out to the demo disc's main menu. This is also the first chance to see one of the many loading screens within the demo. Stylized like comic panels, these loading screens will appear after every transition between menus or gameplay. And these 3 loading screens specifically will actually only show up when loading in or out of the demo videos. On the main menu, we can choose between 2 modes, competition or half-pipe. Starting with competition, we can first choose our border. While all 4 are viewable, only Yagi and Iron are playable in the demo, but we are able to customize their jackets and pants. The boards are the same way. You can look at the all-around, alpine, and freestyle boards, but you can only select all-around type 1 and then choose its pattern. The only course available in the demo is Sunset Downhill. After loading in, we start the race in 4th place with the goal of beating the other 7 boarders to the finish line. By holding X and releasing, you jump into the air, which is how you'll be starting all of your tricks. While holding down X, you can also hold down one of the cardinal directions so that when you release X, you perform either a spin or a flip. And once you're midair, you can then press a combination of directions and shoulder buttons to perform the various grabs available in the game. Unfortunately though, a lot of the jumps in the course are fairly shallow, so even if you hold down square to increase the speed of your tricks, it's very easy to wipe out without perfect timing. Once you reach the finish line, the demo shows you your final time before a coming soon screen ends the demo and once again sends you back to the demo disc main menu. Up next is the half-pipe, and this mode has even more restrictions on customization compared to the competition mode. The only border available is Yagi, which, considering Iron's stats being more in line with performing tricks than racing, feels like an odd choice if they only wanted one border. Going into the half-pipe, you have 30 seconds to perform as many tricks as possible. Despite not giving a score, the name of the tricks you pull off are shown at the bottom of the screen, with the announcer also giving commentary.
Good!
Compared to competition mode, tricks feel a lot easier to pull off with the amount of air you're able to get each time. But on the other hand, there are definitely small issues with losing momentum on jumps and different grabs not registering. And while the time limit itself isn't an issue, being sent to the demo disc main menu, paired with the abundance of loading screens, is. After every 30 seconds of gameplay in the half-pipe mode, you then have at least 40 seconds of waiting through loading screens and menus, which makes replaying it a lot more of a chore for how short it is. Looking at the full version of Cool Borders 2, we start off with a live-action music video showing off various snowboarding tricks, spliced with some gameplay. The first major change we see is the title screen now including a picture of a snowboarder, and the game's logo has been completely changed. Along with this new logo, the stylized comic book loading screens have now been replaced with logos and simple illustrations showing off the different grabs you can perform. And for the first time in this series, I actually feel like the full version of a game is lacking in an area the demo excelled in. While the loading screens now solve the issue of not knowing how to perform different grabs, the change in visual style has a lot less substance compared to its earlier version. Personal taste aside, let's take a look at the rest of the changes. The demo videos on the start screen have returned, but now have a new demo video flashing text, along with some music added in. And while the gameplay shown looks very similar to the demo, the videos now take place on the updated versions of the courses. And for some reason, Cindy is still the only character without a demo video. On the main menu, the options sign at the bottom right has been updated to now say Options, and when starting a new competition mode save, a special cutscene plays, bringing back some of the flair from the demo. Along with Jin and Cindy now being playable, before each race, you now have to perform 2 tricks off of the ramp to determine your starting position. And on the Sunset Downhill course in particular, 2 changes have been made. The first small one is that the tracker on the top left of the screen now has an F to signify the finish instead of a G. And the second, slightly more noticeable one, are the bright orange Butterfinger billboards now placed throughout the entire course. For the half-pipe mode, it's actually very similar to its demo counterpart, though it thankfully now has a 115-second time limit, though your time can be cut short if you reach the finish line at the end of the pipe. Funnily enough, this finish line is also present in the demo version, but the only way to reach it in the short time limit is to avoid performing any tricks. And when you are performing tricks, their names no longer appear at the bottom of the screen. Instead, after your run is scored, you'll be shown a replay which names all of the tricks included, along with a new music track. The Cool Borders 2 demo has 2 distinct ways to play the game, along with a unique visual style. And even though both modes would be improved with less intrusive loading screens, they still allow you to hone your racing skills and practice the long list of tricks available to you. For our last video of the day, we have NHL Face-Off 98. According to the magazine, it's mainly a highlight reel of different plays, and it specifically mentions the lack of player commentary compared to our previous episode's NFL Game Day video. So let's take a look. After watching through it, there really isn't much to discuss about it. While the Ghost in the Shell video focused too much on visual effects, hampering the viewer's ability to recall any specific moments, NHL Face-Off has the opposite problem. The lack of any music, sound effects, or added content leads to a bland video with honestly not much worth remembering. For the next game on our list, we have the sequel to the critically acclaimed Crash Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot 2: Cortex Strikes Back. The Crash 2 demo level includes the second level of the game, Snow Go, showing off the series' first ice level and the mechanics associated with it. After spawning in, a small detail we can see is that Crash's idle animation is actually unfinished. After a few seconds, Crash's model freezes, with only the breathing and blinking special effects continuing. Exiting the spawn room, we come across two recurring obstacles, the TNT and Nitro crates, as well as an Aku Aku crate that acts as a shield to protect Crash from a single hit of damage. After avoiding some penguins, we reach the level's first ice patch. Here you have to slide around to break all of the crates, with the one atop the pillar of metal crates requiring a super jump to reach it. The Crash 2 demo has all of the moves from the full game, including the spin, belly flop, super jump, slide, and long jump. And with these moves, there's a lot of expression in how you proceed through the level, whether you're going for maximum speed or trying to play it safe. Avoiding some sliding seals and jumping over more nitro crates, an elevator takes us to the 2D section of the level. Here we have a couple checkpoints, traps, and some ice mirrors showing off the game's new reflective technology. Further in, we can see a red crystal floating above us, and this is actually supposed to be impossible to obtain. In the full game, you would acquire this gem by playing through the level, air crash, and finding a hidden entrance. After completing some platforming challenges and defeating some enemies, you would then drop down a pit to collect the red crystal and finish the rest of the Snow Go level. But what the developers didn't realize is that by spinning in midair to stop us from bouncing on the arrow crate, we can quickly perform a slide, press X and square at the same time to do a spin jump, and perform a belly flop at the apex of our height to just barely get enough height to possibly reach the red crystal. The timing is pretty tight, but after a few minutes of trying, you can execute everything just right and grab this normally inaccessible collectible. Next up, we can jump into this pit to reach a bonus area containing more fruit, crates, and 2 extra lives. Hitting an exclamation point crate reveals some hidden crates before we collect another Aku Aku and move on to the next section of the level. After hitting the checkpoint box, moving towards the camera reveals some hidden fruit and a green exclamation point box. Hitting this will actually detonate all of the nitro crates within the level, which will count toward your total number of crates destroyed later. Moving forward, we have to do some jumps while sliding on ice, picking up the purple crystal along the way. After passing some invisible boxes and defeating a line of sliding seals, we reach the end of the level where we're shown we still have 2 crates left to destroy. You need to backtrack to the arrow crates just past the invisible boxes. If you time your jump on it to maximize your height and perform a belly flop, the same way we did for the red crystal, you'll hit an exclamation point box hidden just out of sight. And by breaking the final 2 crates, you can return to the end of the level, collect the white crystal, and exit through the warp gate to finish the demo, taking us straight to the demo disc main menu. In the full release of Crash 2, after an intro cinematic and quick prologue level, we can select the Snow Go level right away. With Crash's idle animation now finished, we can continue through the level almost exactly the same as we saw in the demo. Where the red crystal was located in the demo, we see that the ice mirror on the back wall was removed and the pit in the floor was moved closer to the arrow crate. But just like before, we can still reach the crystal long before we're supposed to. Besides that, the only other changes from the demo are new sound effects for both the green exclamation point crate and the warp gates at the beginning and end of each level. Overall, the Crash 2 demo is a fast-paced collectathon, and with the variety of moves available and the number of obstacles you need to avoid, you can feel your skills improving with every replay. While not super long, it's a high-quality demo with a decent amount of depth. For the final demo we'll be looking at today, we have the newest entry in one of the most popular sports game franchises, Madden 98. Looking at the control splash screen, we can see that receive has already been misspelled, though it is fixed in the second, almost identical, control splash screen within the demo itself. After a short loading screen, the Madden 98 demo officially starts. recreating the 1997 Super Bowl with the New England Patriots versus the Green Bay Packers. Though we are at Green Bay Stadium, rather than the Louisiana Superdome like the actual Super Bowl. The demo also gives us some quick keys to victory before the coin toss. Unfortunately though, the demo only lets us play as the Packers, and since we're at our home stadium, the Patriots get to call the coin toss. While this system works great in an actual football game, where the team starting on defense gets the ball after halftime, it doesn't work as well when implemented in a 2-minute demo. And that's because your demo experience is going to be almost entirely determined by the 50% chance you win the coin toss. Being honest, offense is the more fun half of the game, with more diverse options for plays and actually having the opportunity to score points. Unless you're able to get a fumble or interception, the odds of you getting possession of the ball after losing the coin toss is very low. And even if you do, the demo's time limit will most likely run out before you can score. But after the coin toss, the Madden 98 demo contains all of the mechanics you would expect. A wide variety of plays, the new ability to change which player you're controlling whenever you want, and different moves you can perform depending on whether you're on offense or defense. In the full release of Madden 98, we start off with yet another intro cinematic, this time recreating the 1997 Super Bowl.
Hi, I'm John Madden. Welcome to Madden NFL 98.
Gameplay-wise, a new start screen and main menu have been added, and when selecting an exhibition match, different aspects of the game can be changed, including home and away teams, the stadium, and how long each quarter lasts. 2-player mode has also been included. Within the match itself, the keys to victory and the player portraits used have been updated since the demo, but outside of that, everything seems to be the exact same as before. The Madden 98 demo is a small slice of its full release counterpart, but while its constraints can lead to a less than ideal demo experience, it's still Madden at its core, offering a way for players to explore the new plays and mechanics added on from its predecessor.
Kimura makes the catch for a gain of 12.
Now that we've taken a look at everything on the official US PlayStation Magazine Demo Disc 2, it's time to rank all of the demos we've played through today. Keep in mind, I'm going to be ranking these demos based on overall quality and their replay value. Essentially, if we were taken back to 1997 and this demo disc was the only new game we got for the month, which of these demos could we get the most mileage out of? Starting off at the bottom of our list, we have Colony Wars. While the inherent gameplay doesn't have any issues, the demo level doesn't allow for the game's space combat to shine. The enemy fighters almost refusing to attack you, combined with how quickly they're defeated, means you have to actively try to lose. If the demo included more enemies like the vampire when you betray the League, there would be more of a reason to replay it. But as it stands, that single enemy is the only interesting thing the Colony Wars demo has. Next up on the list is Croc, Legend of the Gobos. The Croc demo chose a good level to highlight the different aspects of the game. With all the different mechanics introduced, it does a good job showing players what the full game would be like, and having both gems and Gobos to collect adds a nice secondary goal to complete. On the other hand, Croc's controls are a bit clunky when it comes to turning and judging distance while jumping, so while the level does have a variety of mechanics, Croc's limited moveset doesn't allow for much expression in terms of gameplay. Once you gather all of the collectibles, every subsequent playthrough is going to feel the exact same. Out of all the spots on this list, deciding the placement of these next 2 demos was definitely the hardest, and honestly, I'm still not completely sure. But in 4th place, we have Madden 98. It's Madden. If you're not a fan of the Madden series, this demo is not going to be a fun time. But if you were a fan of Madden 97, it's a better version of it. and as a demo, it's comparable to its full counterpart in terms of gameplay. But where the Madden 98 demo does lose some points is the time limit. For a game as incremental as football, 2 minutes will barely be enough time to score a touchdown, and with only a 50% chance to even start on offense, a lot of your sessions are going to end 0-0. If the time was increased to 4 or even just 3 minutes, players would get to experience a little more of the push and pull that football is known for, but as it stands, it's a little too constraining to be a fulfilling experience. Up next in third place, we have Crash Bandicoot 2. Like Croc, the demo level in Crash 2 is a nice showcase of the new ice mechanics within the level, and grabbing all of the collectibles is a fun secondary goal for players to accomplish. But what Crash 2 does better than Croc is its gameplay. Even though the level is arguably a little more linear than Croc's, Crash's varied moveset adds a skill ceiling for players to reach. While you might start off playing it safe on your first playthrough, each replay will see you getting faster and taking riskier opportunities. Even though the demo may not have much outside of that, Crash's learning curve gives it an edge over the other demos on this list. For our second to last entry, we have Cool Borders 2. With both the competition and half-pipe modes available, the Cool Borders 2 demo allows players to experience 2 distinct playstyles. If you enjoy the racing portion, Yagi and Iron let you choose between faster speed for getting first place or trying to perform tricks off the various jumps. And if tricks are all you care about, the half-pipe mode, while very short, offers a fun way to learn and practice the different tricks available. But it's certainly not perfect. While the stylized loading screens have a lot more character than its full release, there are a lot of them. So until you're able to consistently pull off your tricks in the half-pipe, it can be pretty frustrating having to sit through 40 seconds of loading screens just for 30 seconds of gameplay. And in first place for the best demo on Demo Disc 2 is unsurprisingly Armored Core. While the rest of the demos on this list are very comparable in quality, outside of Colony Wars, the Armored Core demo is just on a different level. With all of the parts you start with, the bonus ones unlocked from the shop, the color palettes, and even an emblem editor, there's dozens of possible mechs you can create and personalize. And while the missions aren't terribly difficult, they act as distinct testing grounds for your mech. The first mission pits you against both gun emplacements and flying enemies, while the second has more of the standard grounded enemies you'd expect. Even the AC test lets you fight against 2 other mech pilots as a sort of mini boss fight. Not to mention, the Versus mode adds an almost limitless amount of replayability with the caveat of needing someone else to play it with. The only downside is the inherent lack of save functionality erasing your mech. But at the same time, it forces you to start from scratch, trying out new combinations of parts and colors. The best part of the Armored Core demo is creating a mech that feels unique, and every time you boot it up, you get to do it all over again. With that, this is the end of our slightly longer, deep dive through the official US PlayStation Magazine Demo Disc 2. I hope you enjoyed the video, learned something new, or even found a game you might want to try out for yourself. But as always, thanks for joining me on this Demo Disc deep dive. I'll see you on the next one.